Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this final video lesson on the French Revolution. This is part 4 of 4. I am Miss Jennifer Blank, and I will be your guide on this journey. So let's discuss more about the French Revolution itself and talk about how the common people saved the day, right? So Louis XVI sided with the First Estate, and he was ready to use force to stop the National Assembly. This would turn out to be a bad idea, right? There was a series of uprisings by peasants that smashed Louis's plans, so those plans did not come to fruition. The common people tried to use the French Revolution as a direct attack on the upper classes, including the monarchy. And the common people were also used as pawns for the revolutionaries and the counter-revolutionaries, right? So even though the common people had a huge influence on the initial stages of the French Revolution, as you will soon see, as it transpires, this becomes worse and worse, okay? All right, so this is the storming of the Bastille. This was July 14th, all right? This is the peasantry, the bourgeoisie storming the Bastille, a French military armory, and it was a symbol of oppression. It was also a prison, a symbol of oppression from the monarchy and the upper classes, and the common people were determined to take it down. All right, so let me just bring that down just a little bit. Okay, so the Bastille was a royal army in prison, as I said. Louis tried to intimidate the public. He stepped up the troops in Paris and on the road to Versailles as well. Public got pissed, okay? The public was not having it. They were mad as hell, and they were not going to take it anymore. All right, so a permanent committee, the permanent committee, organized the army. That's a key vocab word. You should know what that is. The army took the Invalides armory. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble with pronunciation this morning. Then they took the Bastille. All right. So the fall represented an overthrow of despotism. This is like the equivalent of United States July 4th, Independence Day. Okay. The king's authority is over. He could no longer govern. He was done. So that's the major. See that in red right over there. Major significance over here. Louis named Marquis de Lafayette as commander of the Citizens' Army, which was effectively the National Guard at this point. All right, so now here I want to talk about some primary sources. This is a Parisian newspaper account of the fall of the Bastille. First, the people tried to enter this fortress by the Rue Saint-Antoine. This fortress, which no one has ever penetrated against the wishes of this frightful despotism, and where the monster still resided. The treacherous governor had put out a flag of peace. So a confident advance was made. A detachment of French guards, with perhaps 5,000 to 6,000 armed bourgeoisie, penetrated the Bastille's outer courtyard. But as soon as some 600 persons had passed over the first drawbridge, the bridge was raised, and artillery fire mowed down several French guards and some soldiers. The cannon fire on the town, and the people took fright. A large number of individuals were killed or wounded, but then they rallied and took shelter from the fire. Meanwhile, they tried to locate some cannon. They attacked from the water's edge to the gardens of the arsenal, and from there made an orderly siege. They advanced from various directions, beneath a ceaseless round of fire. It was a terrible scene. The fighting grew steadily more intense. The citizens had become hardened to the fire. From all directions, they clambered onto the roofs or broke into the rooms. As soon as an enemy appeared among the turrets on the tower, he was fixed in the sights of 100 guns and mowed down in an instant. Meanwhile, cannon fire was hurriedly directed against the second drawbridge. In vain did the cannon on the tower reply, for most people were sheltered from it. The fury was at its height. People bravely faced death and every danger. Women, in their eagerness, helped us to the utmost. Even the children, after the discharge of fire from the fortress, ran here and there, picking up bullets and shot. And so the Bastille fell, and the governor Delaunay was captured. Serene and blessed liberty, for the first time, has at last been introduced into this abode of horrors, this frightful refuge of monstrous despotism and its crimes. So there you have it, a Parisian newspaper account of the fall of the Bastille. And this continues that trek. Meanwhile, they get ready to march. They leave amidst an enormous crowd, the applause, the outbursts of joy, the insults, the oaths hurled at the treacherous prisoners of war. Everything is confused. Cries of vengeance and of pleasure issue from every heart. The conquerors, glorious and covered in honor, carry their arms and the spoils of the conquered, the flags of victory, the militia mingling with the soldiers of the fatherland. The victory laurels offered them from every side. All this created a frightening and splendid spectacle. On arriving at the square, the people, anxious to avenge themselves, allowed neither Delaunay nor the other officers to reach the place of trial. They seized them from the hands of their conquerors and trampled them underfoot, one after the other. Delaunay was struck by 1,000 blows. His head was cut off and hoisted on the end of a pike, with blood streaming down all sides. This glorious day must amaze our enemies, and finally usher in for us the triumph of justice and liberty. In the evening, there were celebrations. So there you have it, the fall of the Bastille. So during this period, you have a series of agrarian uprisings as well, independent of but simultaneous with the Bastille. So these were not coordinated events. They were separate endeavors that just happened to be happening at the same time. There was a total collapse of royal authority during this time. Permanent committees formed all over the place to handle where to direct soldiers and militiamen. July 19th through August 3rd, there were constant uprisings and revolts. Constant. I mean, it was a barrage. They refused to pay the tithes, and they burned charters listing any and all obligations of the common people to the royalty and the nobility. The greatest impact was the calling of a National Assembly at Versailles, which is where we start this process of forming a new government in post-revolutionary, or, well, post the actual fighting itself. So here is a political cartoon of the Third Estate breaking its chains. Okay, that's... I'll leave it to you to interpret this cartoon, and we will talk about this in class. That is the end of part 4. I will see you when we talk about Napoleon.